Merry Christmas, everyone. I just finished reading Golden Sun, the second book in the Red Rising trilogy, followed by Morning Star. I didn't notice there's a big sickle on here. It's this like sling blade that Darrow uses. This one's actually a little bit thicker, maybe. So a lot of people told me that Red Rising is the worst book of the trilogy. There's actually like 5 books. There's 2 more up there, and then there's one that's coming out this year. And they say this one is like just amazing, and it's way better, and it just keeps getting better. I think the second, or the 4th and the 5th book, people don't really like as much. I don't know if like this one's supposed to be better than this one, but I think this one is supposed to be like the best. And I liked it. But I think Red Rising was actually better. See, he was supposed to write... He's like a sci-fi author. But for some reason, the original story, they didn't want to publish like it was. So he had to like redo Red Rising and make it more like Hunger Games type situation. So I think it was more interesting because they were like based on the ground more. They were on like a terraformed version of Mars, so pretty much like Earth, but it's like, yeah, it was kind of hard to follow too. But there's way more big moments in Red Rising. In Red Rising, you've got like his girlfriend. They hang her. They make him pull her feet because the gravity's low to like snap her neck. And then he tries to bury her, which is illegal, and they hang him for burying her, and it's just all its cruelty, and the society's all like split off into these color-coded society of everybody has different jobs, and the red people are slaves, and they don't know that Mars has already been terraformed for like 700 years or something. It's like a super advanced futuristic society, but they're just like the slaves that are harvesting helium-3 for the golds and all these other colors in between that are like different workers. You got your like obsidian soldiers, you got your gray police force, you got your white religious people, you got your blues that are like technical pilots and computer whizzes, and then you got like yellows are doctors, I think, and then oranges are like technicians, and browns are like janitors. But it's just like, yeah, there's also, like, in Red Rising, there was the whole thing at the end, which I thought I read right. I guess I didn't read it. I thought, like, at the end of Red Rising, he meets this girl named Mustang. It's like his second love interest after EO is killed. Yeah, so, like, after EO, they carve him, and they make him into a gold. They actually make him, like, taller and stronger, and change his bone density, they change his face, they change his hair, they do everything. His voice. He becomes, like, a whole different person. And he leads these people on like a Hunger Games type battle, and he like doesn't just win it. He wins it so hard that he takes over all the, like the teachers and the institute itself. And this girl Mustang is like, she was an enemy, but he made her his ally because he befriended people that were on the other team because he was losing, because he was like kind of an Ender's Game kind of a genius sort of thing. Never explained how he became a genius. He was like a hell diver, which is like people that dive down and mine the helium-3, and they have to deal with these pit viper snakes and stuff, and it's like dangerous as fuck. But I guess they trained him in a lot of things. But there was this guy named the Jackal. He was really scary, and like he had people that were cannibals in his team. And he was just kind of like whispered about it. I didn't think he even met him in that book. I guess he did at one point, because somebody told me on Reddit. I know he caused like this cave in. I think he was like underground. The Jackal was kind of like underground. He caused that. But then, I didn't think he ever met him. Maybe he met him around that time. But anyway, he's like Mustang's brother. And he sent Mustang to capture him, and he didn't know Mustang was his sister, so he was worried. But then Mustang came back, had him tied up, I guess, and like laid him at his feet. I thought he that she cut his head off and brought his head back. That's what I was thinking. Like she just killed her brother at the end. I was like, that would have been a way cooler ending. So then in Golden Sun, the Jackal is back, and I'm like, wait, what? I thought he died. No, he didn't die. He was like just captured. But she kept warning him never to trust the Jackal. He's like a monster, and he's not a human. He's like something else. So then it's like this was like a lot of space battles, and there's a lot of like technology. You got these like ghost cloaks, which makes you invisible. You got the grab boots. You got these razors, which are, I guess they're kind of like a whip, because they used to like wear them around their waist like a belt, and they would whip them out, and they would become like a sword, and you would slice people with them or something. But now he's like wearing them wrapped around his arm like a snake, and he's like whipping it out like this, and it's like a laser whip or something. I'd see if this was a Brandon Sanderson novel, there would be like all kinds of drawings and explanations of how every little thing works. And they have like this thing called the Iron Rain he calls for, which is like this big massive attack of a bunch of ships. They load a bunch of people into these things called star shells, and they launch people out of them in like suits of armor, like bullets sort of. And there's a really cool scene where he describes seeing one of them and saying he looked like a golden angel coming out of like a Lucifer being born from the falling from the like fallen angel or whatever. And then it says like a missile streaked across the sky and showed that he was mortal, so it like blew up this guy next to him. That's pretty dope. And there's this one scene where there's a sovereign woman that's like the leader of everybody, I guess, all the planets, and he just like there's a lot of bluffing and like acting like a badass, and he like jumps on her table and starts like making all these claims and threats and stuff. It's just really kind of cocky and bluffing, and that's pretty much how he does everything. He gets this crazy reputation, and he just keeps getting followers and getting stronger, but it's all based on a lie. But then at the end, there's a lot of people that get killed, a lot of important characters, and he's like this whole secret of him being a red and not really a gold. Since there's 5 books, you would think that he would keep that secret through all 5 of those books. But at the end, there's like he's got this guy Severo, they call the Goblin. That's one of his howlers that follows him around, and he ends up finding out, or he tells him, and then he finds out Severo's dad is actually the leader of the rebels, Ares. So then he finds out, and then he tells there's this new guy named Ragnar that was really cool. He was like an obsidian scarred, or no, not scarred, stained. I think that because they were stained by so much blood, they're kind of like carved guys, I guess, like they made them into like monsters or beasts or something. They're like stronger than everybody else or bigger. They didn't really explain a lot of this, but it's pretty cool. And they kind of like have this whole religion based on Vikings and stuff, and they think the golds are like they have to like be subservient to them and slaves to them because they're gods. But he tells them that no, we're not gods. And he's like, I'm not even a red, or I'm not even a gold. What if I told you I was a red? And he's like freaks him out, tells him he has to become his own man, make his own decisions. And he like befriends him, even though he's like super dangerous. So he becomes like his strongest ally then, him and Goblin, or Severo, whatever you want to call him. But then some of his other closest friends betray him at the end. And the Mustangs kind of like disappeared, and then like the main guy, the governor, ends up getting killed. And he was like supposed to kill the governor because the governor's one that ordered his wife to be hanged at the beginning of it. So it's like a lot of stuff happens. I'm not sure where they're going with this, but you know, it's pretty cool. A lot of fighting, a lot of gory details going on, but I wish they would explain the technology a little bit better, a little bit more world building. And they do kind of like travel around the planets a lot without really explaining like how they're. It's not like a typical like a James Corey book where they like explain how they're taking all this time and everything's very realistic, scientifically, I guess you would say. They got like pulse blasts and pulse blades and ghost blood this and it's like vibro blades or whatever. It's stuff like, I think they're just making stuff up. I don't know what any of this stuff does, but it's kind of cool. I don't know if you could make a movie about it because it'd be pretty hard. But I don't know. I don't know why everybody thinks it's like so much better than Red Rising. Red Rising had way more big moments. This was more like one giant, non-stop space battle. And then, like, he does go back and visit his old home at one point. And he's trying to tell Mustang that he's the red guy. And he, like, explains it to her. And she fucking bugs off and leaves. So, I don't know. He can't keep a secret. He's telling everybody. And this one, what does this one say? This is the end, I will rage toward it. I don't know if I want to go straight into this one. I do kind of want to keep reading it just to get it done, but then, like, we got 7 more days left for the end of the year. I want to finish Soulsmith. Yeah, and then finish Catch 22, hopefully. I've had my toilet book all year long. I just haven't read it. Maybe that Bloody Rose is like, you can't see that. It's bigger than, yeah, you can. See this one, this blue one. It's taller than the Kings of the Wild. Why do they keep publishing stuff? Same company, but it's bigger and taller than the other one. It's annoying.